Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Toon Review. Tonight is a transfer show and, stroke looking back at today's fantastic win for Newcastle United, 2-0 over Rayo Vallecano. Thank you to everybody that did watch the watch-along. We've had some fantastic views on that, and it's good to be back with that. Billy has joined us tonight. He's still alive after his... party and antics last night. Did you enjoy yourself, Billy, at the works too?
Probably too much. Probably more than everyone else did.
Right. Slightly bad head this morning.
Oh, terrible.
Dear. It's one of those things. It comes around once a year, the Christmas party, and you've got to make the most of it. Cesare just says to basically keep comments respectful, no all caps, duplicates, etc., etc. If you do enjoy tonight's show, of course, as usual, please do hit that like button and help us move up those search results on YouTube. And, of course, hit the notification bell, which will let you know when we upload or go live. You can become a member of the Toon Review by hitting the join button just down there underneath the video itself. And you can donate to the channel, of course, by hitting that $ just underneath the live comments, and that will send you through to a payment method. So thank you very much in advance for all that. Chippers, good evening to you. Julie's in the house, modding again. Matty says, good evening, TTR team. It's been a long time, but it's good to catch you guys live again. I hope all of you and your families are doing well. Thank you very much. Morris Kennedy, good evening. Tom Lynch, good evening. Back home. It got a bit chilly at St. James this afternoon as the game wore on. Not a bad game for a friendly, though, and nice to be watching NUFC again. Jason, good evening to you. He would love to see a big name coming in January. Would it be greedy to ask for two? Well, no. Hell no. Not greedy. Just ask away. Stu, good evening again. James says, hello, all you fine TTR folk. I honestly think by this time next month, we would have been linked with over 200 players in the media. And nothing changes on that front at all. Good evening, Kamal. Up the A1 says, evening all, just seen tonight's show, so a good surprise for a Saturday night. If everybody wants to spend Saturday night with TTR. We don't do many Saturday night shows, so there you go. Carlos, good evening. Nathan, good evening to you. Annie's back with simply piercing out. Good to hear from you, Annie. Bruce, yeah, he's the man. He's the man, Annie. He's the man to take Bristol City forward and into the Premier League, of course. James, good evening. Mark in the house. Who else we got? To coin a phrase, says back to winning football matches. Get in. Ian Toon Trader says lads night in for me and Tommy and his granda. Looking forward to this one. Thank you very much. Frau, good afternoon from Ohio. That should really be a place in China or somewhere, shouldn't it, really, with that kind of name? Ohio. Mason says, second time this season, Alex Neil has done it over you, Annie. Oh, dear. Paul Gallant, good evening. It was 2-1, not 2-0, of course. Yes, it was. I just don't count the own goal. It was bollocks. They didn't deserve it anyway. Let's be honest. Vallecano were garbage. Ian, good evening. Paul, Alex, Billy, and the mods. Ashley 80s, good to see you all, and nice to see Billy back. Yes, it is, and in, of course, one piece. Spike, evening, TTR family. Hope you're all good. Brandon says, evening all. Love having these transfer shows back. Billy looks tired. Well, if ever there's a phrase for don't overdo the alcohol, then Billy Trey is the man tonight.
The exact same thing I was thinking when I went to the toilet at 7 o'clock this morning. I had a wee and then looked down and realised the toilet seat was down. I was still pissed.
Oh, dear me. Alex is looking as if to say, yep, been there, mate, done that very many times. Bede, good evening, says Mr. Toon Review. Good to see the lads back. Looking forward to a quality show, as always. Barbara, yes, you were at the game today. I know it was 2-1. I know. Alex says, hi, guys. Will last night's TTR Friday and transfer show be uploaded to Spotify? Yes, I'll be doing that all tonight later on. So, yes, they'll all be on Spotify and iTunes, etc. Good evening, guys. Hope the hangover isn't too bad, Billy. You will be grand, sir, says KB. Shane says, finally back on my feet. Achilles is good, so Leeds game, I'm back. Good news. Comments jumped there. What's happened there? Oh, no, nothing. Sorry, it's just my eyes. Basil Brush says, good evening, guys. My hubby, Professor Yaffle, would like me to let you know that he swapped his scarf with one of the away fans today. I have to say they were a lovely, friendly group of fans. Yeah, I've heard a few people commenting that the Vallecano fans were good crack today and really friendly. So that's actually nice to hear for once.
Well, it's because they're the little club in Madrid, isn't it? So they don't, they don't have that sort of reputation.
Well, they did beat them. Foxy says Chris Hughton would do a decent job at Bristol City. Hi all, nice to have a TTR show when you're recovering.
I think Steve Bruce is available, is he not?
He is, Alex, yes. Billy has been championing Steve Bruce for the job at Bristol City for many months now.
When he was with us, I was, yeah. I thought what they needed is a bit of abject pragmatism would suit Bristol City down to the ground.
Absolutely, yeah. Billy, I just need to change a few settings on my computer, so can you take over for 2 or 3 minutes, mate?
Yes, certainly, no problem.
Something. All right, cheers.
Where do we get to in the way of comments? Lots of people saying hello to each other. Done that. Oh, good. The only thing wrong with this is, I could go well past that. Sorry about this, Alex.
Right.
Yeah, gone way past that.
I'm looking at one of my favourite transfers at the moment. We'll get to it, but yeah, there's one that's taken my fancy in the last few weeks, and it's been rumoured. So
Ian says, me and Tommy missed you tonight, Paul. Not the same without your bear hug before the match. Of course, Paul was doing the watch along. Where we've got to here. Where we've got to. Oh, Annie replies. He says, anyone but Bruce or Houghton.
Oh, now we don't want Steve Bruce.
Yeah, because he was a big fan of his before, wasn't he, Alex? He was shouting his name from the rooftops. Pragmatic manager. Well. Yeah, all those people that I'd like to see Steve Bruce go to Bristol City. So I think he will take him out of that league for sure.
I'd like to see him go back to Sunderland and relegate them again.
We've got 50. Oh, we'll save that for Paul. We'll see if chat come in. Ian says Billy looks sexy to me. Thank you, Ian. Thank you very much. Paul Gallant says the other team were 8th in their league. They were bad today, but we won. I thought they were a bit nasty and all in some of the ways they were going for tackles, Alex.
Yeah, well, I think that was down to fitness and sharpness. They were too slow. They couldn't keep up with our speed or intensity, even though we were missing 5, 6, 7 players that would normally start, like Bruno, Miggy, Joe Linton. We were missing a lot of our big hitters. We were far too silky and quick for them, and we were quite rusty. To be fair, for our standards, we were quite rusty, but they couldn't get near us. So many fouls, and when they got the ball, they'd just pass it straight back to us the majority of the time. Very, very peculiar. Considering they beat Madrid, I'm going to have to go back and watch that game because I'm curious what the difference was between then and today. Because today they were awful.
They played a pre-season friendly before our game and won that. And I can't think who that was against. That was against good opposition. I can't think who it was.
It was either they played Fenerbahce and Galatasaray, and they beat one and lost to the other. I can't remember which way round though. So they've been doing all right. They haven't lost to that many teams recently. They've been on a cracking run of form. I think the World Cup just came at the wrong time for them. Yeah,
biennial, every 2 years, they're relegation fodder, aren't they? They seem to be down the bottom and get promoted. A bit like Norwich, but they're doing a great season this year.
Oh,
a few alcohol flops this morning, Billy. No, I didn't touch anything near alcohol this morning. It's one of them occasions where you have a glass of water and you feel drunk again. So, no, absolutely not. Jules says, go hard or go home. Well, yeah, basically. Stu says, Annie, are you okay? The perennial thing. Lots of people saying hello to each other. Paul says, thoughts on Napoli strikers all over the place today. I think we discussed him yesterday.
Yeah, we did. He was on yesterday's transfer show. And that would be a big fat yes if we could get anywhere near him, definitely.
Handmade Angler says, hi all, good result today. Great workout and another win. Can't wait for Tuesday night. Tried to get tickets 4 hours after they were made available and had already sold out. So says it all really, indeed. You're up for that one, aren't you, Alex, for the Bournemouth game?
Yeah, we're coming up with Paul. We're in level 7. This is the only place he could get. So he's more terrified. I'm excited and he's scared because he doesn't like the heights. So
what we've got to do is make a bit of a limp on the way and you can jump up on the lift and everything's good. It is really high up there. I was there for the Championship trophy when we played Ipswich back in 2009 or 10, whenever it was. And it is high. It is bloody high.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody visits St James's Park that hasn't been up there, you can literally just do the stadium tour, and they will take you right up to that top bit, so you can see it.
Yeah, that's that sorted. Gary says, "Nice to see you made it down." Paul wasn't at the game today. He was doing a watch along with Level
Tuesday
7s.
that we're doing
Tuesday, and if we can find a stream, I'll be doing a watch along for that also. Maybe bringing the game forward 24 hours, having more chance of us having a stream to watch. So, yeah, hopefully we can get a watch logged in for that as well. Bring on Leicester, says Keith, which is next. It's Boxing Day, isn't it? Leicester. Well, that comment on.
Yes, Boxing Day, Leicester, and then Leeds on the 30th or 31st, one of the two.
Yeah.
Super
chat to call Paul that I haven't called out.
All right, no bother. Sorry about that, by the way. Just a couple of seconds. It's fine. We may as well start with the match today. I mean, what did you think, Billy? I mean, there was some nasty tackles going in from the Vallecano players, wasn't there?
They did leave their feet in a few times. Virtually all the time, actually. Alex just said there, I think it's because they were a bit slow off the mark. We were pretty quick with the possession and looked really sharp on the ball, actually. We did give it away a few times, but I think we were just, like Alex says, a bit too quick for them. Yeah.
I mean, Alex, you put in the chat, you were very disappointed with Vallecano, really, because they didn't seem to... They produced absolutely nothing. I mean, the first 2 minutes, obviously, they had a good shot, which was... he got behind Botman, didn't he? And had the volley, which Nick Pope tipped over the bar. It was a brilliant save, actually. But apart from that, they offered nothing.
Yeah, I mean, early on, they played a few straight balls that just seemed to go straight through our midfield, which was a bit concerning. We looked a bit rusty and open in phases, but they were so poor. There was no killer intent with anything. They just, as soon as in the second half, as soon as they got the ball, they just gave it back to us straight away. A couple of good touches, a couple of good passes, and then whoops, straight back to us. It was a bit peculiar, and I think we could have done with them being a bit better, really, because I think we needed testing. We needed to practice our shape, and maybe we needed a period where they were dominant, so we could, practice going into a block and transitioning back out. And we needed a bit more practice, and I don't think they were good enough, really, which is a shame.
Yeah. I was disappointed in them. I thought they would offer a little bit more, to be honest. I have to say. But let's not take anything away from us. I mean, it was quite clear from the off that we were going to be closing down and things like that, and playing our normal game, which we did, and that was good to see. I mean, I didn't realize that some of the starting 11 were playing yesterday in a practice game behind closed doors, which is why some of them weren't playing today. A lot of questions were asked, where was such and such and things like that. The only two that weren't available were Cher and Bruno, but they have been back a couple of days now and are expected to be involved against Bournemouth. But the other guys were playing yesterday. But Billy, you did mention as well that Sean Longstaff certainly looked like he beefed up a little bit, and he did. And I thought he played really well today.
Yeah, I thought it was excellent. When I saw it, I thought that can't be Longstaff, because obviously the black sleeves is singling him out. But he looks a foot taller than everyone else on the pitch, and he looked broader. He just looked like a man playing amongst schoolboys. Looked huge. But with that, he was fantastic. I thought, he supported the right hand side really well. His goal was fantastic, great finish. Generally had a really good game and got involved with most of the play also. But I thought the midfield actually, as the game went on, after the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I thought they were outstanding. Some of the stuff they were doing was brilliant.
I mean, Longstaff, Alex, getting forward is a big thing, because he did a lot defensively today as well, but he's getting back to making those runs into the box, which was what we used to seeing, back under Rafa, really, when Longstaff used to make those runs into the box, and he's certainly helping out up front.
Yeah, well, I think under Benitez, he was just a lot more raw, and it was all instinct, and you could see the quality was there. Whereas now, despite a lot of calls for him not being good enough, he had that run in the team. He had to replace Bruno and be a 6. Shelby was still out, so he had to play games at 6 and did fine. He had to play games at 8, and then he's had to add into his game covering wide right, and then he's had to add into his game going and being a bit more aggressive as well. I know he's got a few goals and assists, and he showed that today. And as Billy said, he looks a little bit stocky. He looks a bit more up for it. It looks like in the last couple of months, it looks like he's taking that step from young player to senior player. It looks like he's crossing that bridge now. And I'm quite excited. I think it's evident to see why he was given a longer contract and not just like a year or two. I think it was 3 with an option to extend. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I think it's pretty clear why now. He's not a superstar, but he's extremely useful, versatile, fights for the cause. He's from the area. Look, great if we can keep him doing this.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I've changed my opinion. I said numerous times that I thought Longstaff was, he wasn't going to be good enough. But as a squad player, maybe not, in the start 11 in the future, but certainly as a squad player, I think he's proven to everybody that he's willing to learn under Eddie Howe, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to become that better player under Eddie Howe.
But you were correct at the time in your comments. There was a period of time where he was lacking this or that.
Yeah.
He was a bit slow, wasn't thinking. He did have a lot missing, but he looks like he's definitely. Well, this is Eddie Howe and the coaching staff. All the players are working on deficiencies. Really, really improving.
Absolutely.
I mean, we saw that from minute 1 with Joe Linton having his private Brazilian team analysing his game, and it's been ever since Eddie Howe stepped in, essentially.
Yeah. Trolls, thank you very much for your 50 kroner again, mate. Really kind. Thank you so much for that. It really does help. Now, Kavrat to replace ASM would be nice, says Nathan. Let's chat a bit about ASM, shall we? Because look, this man is clearly an enigma. 1 minute he makes me pull what hair I've got left out of my head, but the next he does something sublime. The only thing that I really got frustrated about Maxi today was going down. And when he goes down, doing this, waving his hand in the air, and then 2 minutes later, he's back on his feet, sprinting away. It really pees me off because there's nothing wrong with him. And quite frankly, sometimes there were good tackles on him, sometimes there weren't. But when he goes down and he had, there's no reason to go down and wave your hand around in the air like you've been shot. It's just ridiculous. And then he gets up and then he does something really good. I mean, he had 4 or 5 marking him today, pretty much most of the game. But he did in that circumstances, he did well. I thought he linked up very well with a few players. He had a little bit of it to do with, I think it was Joe Willock in the first half when, Alex, you commented, and I got a bit I thought, well, what's Alex talking about when you said, you stuck up for Maxi there, but he didn't continue his run, to be fair. It was a pretty easy ball for Willock to play in for him, and for some reason he stops. But I don't know.
I mean, in that specific scenario, I completely understand what you're trying to say, but I think what's happened in that scenario is Willock's carried it too far central, and Maxi's essentially gone, right, that pass is gone now. I'm going to check the run and go back central. I honestly think that's what is in his head. He's like, right, Willock's gone central. I'm not going to receive the ball. I'm going to check the run and go somewhere else. And then Willock releases the ball mega late. Fair enough. I just think that neither of them were on the same page. I think that Maxi he wasn't just lazy. I think he genuinely stopped to then go central. I think they just didn't they read completely the wrong move from each other.
Well, the reverse happened in the second half, didn't it? Because, Willock was going to make a run. Maxi tried to play him in, but then Willock stopped and then went again. And then
and received it to feet instead of in front, and it was a bit... I think we missed Wilson. We really missed Wilson.
Yeah.
I think in 5 or 6 of those situations, if you've got Wilson as the 9 running in first... those balls out to Willock, to Maxi, to whoever else is there are much easier if you've got that striker making that first run, whereas Wood was playing a wonky Harry Kane role, if we're going to call it anything.
I was going to bring that up.
And it worked on occasion. Some of his through balls were quite good. I'd rather just have a striker.
The first time balls that he clipped out to the right-hand side in the first half, those balls that were coming up to him and he was clipping it to the right-hand side. He did it about 4 or 5 times in the first half. which set us on the attack. But Billy, he offers nothing in attack. I mean, don't get me wrong, fantastic penalty taker. There's no doubt about that. He knows how to take a penalty, but I mean, he just doesn't offer anything. I mean, the runs young, what was he called, man? Stevenson, when he came on, he was making better runs than what Chris Wood did.
Chris Wood just doesn't make runs, does he? He stands behind defenders when there's crosses to come in, when you should be really at the first point of where the ball's going to go to. He offers little. He offers very little. For a big man, he doesn't control the ball well enough. He doesn't hold it well enough. He doesn't win enough in the air. Yes, he's good at penalties. Yes, he's probably good at one-on-ones if he ever gets the chance, but he's that slow. He's unlikely to ever be in one-on-ones. Yeah, for me, if we can kind of get some money back from him in January, then I'll be looking to put him out the door and get someone in with a bit more mobility, a bit more. Yeah. Even Nous, for a 30-year-old striker, he's got very little Nous. I mean, the amount of times we put crosses near post and he stood at the back post behind two defenders, it's every week and it happens 4 or 5 times a game. And to me, that's not Nous. He should know better than 30.
He doesn't make an attempt to get the ball when the crosses come in. That's what frustrates me. He's just standing, waiting for the ball. You made the point a few weeks ago, Billy, that Callum Wilson does the opposite. Callum Wilson goes hunting for the ball. He will go hunting. And when he sees a cross come in, Callum Wilson will make that run to the near post, far post, middle, penalty box, whatever it'll be, to get on the end of a cross. Whereas Chris Wood, I mean, it happened for our first goal. The cross came in. Wood was 2 foot away from the defender, not even challenging for the ball. It then fell to Longstaff. He did the rest. But it is so frustrating. But obviously, hopefully Isak will be back soon as well. And Chris Wood will be down the pecking order. There's no doubt about it. Malcolm says, thought Anderson would have been in the team. Is he injured? He played yesterday, Malcolm, in the behind closed doors game. As I said at the beginning there was a few first teamers or first team squad played in that game behind closed doors. Darren says, if we bring in Madison and Pulisic, that would be incredible, in my opinion. Paul said, I'd love a left winger attacking centre. ASM has the odd good game, City, but he's not consistent like Miggy is. Geordie's great. Hi, I've missed you guys. The Toon FA. Thank you very much. Frau said, who did Leicester play in a friendly this weekend and what was the score? Does anyone know? I'm not aware of Leicester City playing a friendly, to be honest. I've got foot mode open, so I'll have friendlies are way down the list, to be honest.
The point about the Paul made about Maxi a minute ago about consistency. He destroyed Man City. The week after, he was by far and away our best player against Wolves. Got himself injured, chasing over it ball in the 95th minute. Hasn't been seen since. Hasn't been able to get in the side since because of how well the team's been performing. Today, for him, was about him putting himself in Eddie Howe's eyes to start Tuesday. I think he overtried today, but some of the stuff he did was outstanding. I think he overtried, if I'm being perfectly honest.
And let's not forget, sorry, go on, Billy.
Well, because he hasn't been a permanent fixture in the side because he's been injured, and his team have been doing well without him. So I think with a fully fit Maxi on full form, we become a top 3, top 4 side, no danger. I know we're there already, but with him at full fitness, playing the way he can play, 3 out of 4 times, even 2 out of 4 times, I think we finished top 4.
Yeah, I think you can say the same about Murphy as well. Not that he's as good as Maxi, but Murphy was playing okay. He was playing fine before the break, and now he's had a long time off. And he looked quite rusty. He didn't look great, and I can't blame him for that. We've seen that he can get to a level if he's got some consistent games, and he's in the right headspace. So I'm quite happy to give Murphy the benefit of the doubt, unlike the Cells who reverted back to type. Unfortunately, I was disappointed because he's in the minutes he's had recently, in the last 3 to 4 months, any minutes he's had, he's been okay, and he just crumbled. It was a shame. I was hoping he'd turned a corner.
That second half, that back pass that he totally underhit.
Yeah, that's not about fitness.
That's just awful. And then he had the balls to just turn around and go, yeah, it's offside, I knew anyway. No, you didn't. And then he made a crossfield. He played a ball through his own penalty area, which was underhit as well, which luckily managed to reach John Joe Shelvey. Wow. I mean, wow.
The other point, finally, re Maxi. If Chris Wood isn't playing and Callum Wilson is, Maxi doesn't have 5 men on him every time he gets the ball.
It's a good point.
That is a huge difference, and this is what I always used to complain about. Was we'd got Miggy that wasn't in form at the time, and Chris Wood up front. So what was Maxi supposed to do at that point? Because Sean Longstaff wasn't as good as he is now. Willock wasn't playing as well as he is now. So Maxi didn't have as much around him. Whereas we saw Willock was the only person vaguely close to his wavelength today, and it nearly came off a couple of times.
I thought Willock was good today as well, and a little bit rusty in patches, but I thought he was good. And then some of the comments coming through during the watch along that he was having a poor game, and I just think him and Shelby get targeted very, very easily just because they are the two that you can make out to have poor games. I thought Shelby was okay as well.
As soon as Shelby doesn't reach a ball first once, everybody goes, "Oh, he's too slow, sell him."
But he's been out for all season. He's only just come back.
I thought him and Willock were great today. We're watching Joe Willock actually develop into a really, really good midfield player because not only has he got the running ability and taking players on, some of his passing today was absolutely superb as well. His vision's great. His vision's improved the past 3 months.
Yeah. Les says Longstaff has been on the Joe Linton diet. It certainly looks that way. Nathan says Rayo Vallecano have had their 5th consecutive away match in a month and are away again in the Copa del Rey early next week. Cold weather and winding down for season restart makes sense. Winding down? I'm not so sure. I think if they play like that in the Copa del Rey or the La Liga, they will get tonked more than they will win games. But I think they'll be better. I just think, obviously, I don't think they expected us to play at such a high tempo today. I think, they got quite a surprise. They just did not get a chance to breathe on the ball, did they? They were just... as soon as they got the ball, we hit them with 2 or 3 players, on them like I don't know, flies around shit. It was unbelievable. And again, that intensity is what Eddie Howe is wanting to take into the second part of the season, undoubtedly, which is really, really exciting. The big right hand. Hello, welcome back. Haven't seen you for a while, matey. Nice to see you back. It is nice to see everybody coming back now that we're talking NUFC again. Jacka says, evening team, hope everyone's well, getting back into the swing of things. Dark by Design says, don't think the Bournemouth game is televised, is it? I think there'll be a stream, don't worry. I'm pretty sure there will be.
It'll be televised somewhere.
Yeah, of course it will. John's back door is in the house. Thank you very much. Welcome. Cesare says, please hit those likes and consider subscribing if you're new to the show. Crazy scenes in the A-League match. Yes, absolutely. Crazy scenes and horrible scenes, to be honest. Scenes that we don't want to see linked to football anywhere. James Pope says, Murphy, I will give credit to for comparing Murphy under Bruce compared to Murphy under Howe. He is a vastly improved player, but still not good enough.
Yeah, but he's contracted till 2027. So we're going to have to just put up with it and hope he keeps improving because, he has a really fat contract.
He does. So A, it'll be very hard to get out the door. B, he'll be on very good wages.
He loves the club and he's improving.
Of course he does. He's a fan.
I'm sure he'd be willing to, as we've already seen, I'm sure he'd be willing to take a step back in the squad when higher players come in. I'm sure he wouldn't mind. If he gets some minutes and he's in and around the team and he loves the club, it might not be a problem. It might be okay.
Yeah. I like coffee says, nice to see Nick Pope and the lads lift Matt Targett after the own goal. Yeah, it was. And it was a poor, it was just, I mean, he slid into clear it. It was just one of them things that hit his boot the wrong way. It went in the net.
These things happen, don't they, Paul?
Of course it do. It was just completely mistimed. Thanks, Billy. And I did notice your comment, you twat, during the watch along, referring to, of course, Paul's going to back him after scoring an own goal. If anyone doesn't know, Billy's referring to my ice hockey days when I unfortunately scored an own goal in the championship final at Wembley Arena many moons ago. But Billy made sure that I didn't forget about that this afternoon. So thank you, you twat. Sefton Max this evening all missed the game with being in work, unfortunately. Warlass is watching the dance program on TV. So I have decided to join you all. Thank you very much. Rat says, for me, time to upgrade. Go all out to get that Georgian kid from Napoli. I've got him on FM23, 3 Ballon d'Ors. The kid is the next Messi.
I mean, he's very OP on Football Manager, to be fair.
What does that mean in football manager terms? OP, Alex.
Overpowered.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Young speak.
Indeed. I'm just not au fait with that. Chipper says, I've had more runs than Chris Wood and I'm fat. Indeed. Jimmy, good evening. Hello, peeps and TTR hosts. Thanks again, Susan. People want a rooster on my Tiger Woods graphic. Yeah, well, she needs to change the bloody chipmunks to squirrels as well. I didn't realise that last night, but there you go. Roy, Longstaff and Wood scored, but weren't that good today. Well, Longstaff was, Roy. I think if you don't think Longstaff was good, Roy, I think you've had a bit of a Castoria.
I think Roy's still tired.
I think he is, yeah. Keith, good evening to you. John Sutton says, hi all, please tell me Isak has recovered from injury. Nowhere near the squad again today, Billy.
Yeah, it's concerning, but I think they're kind of saving him for the busy Christmas period. I think you might see him maybe as a sub on Tuesday, perhaps outside chance, and I think you might see him on the bench for the Leicester game.
Do you think it'd be a bit weird if he's on the bench? I mean, obviously, we don't know if he was on the bench or anything yesterday in the behind closed doors game. We don't know. He may well have been part of that game. It would just be weird just to play no part in the friendlies over this weekend and then suddenly be on the bench 2 days later.
I mean, it's an outside chance, granted, but yeah, I think we need to integrate him into the squad, even if he doesn't come on as a sub. Because he's had 3 games for us and a £60 million striker, we've got to kind of get him working. He might not even get in the side anyway. In fact, he probably wouldn't at the moment because Callum Wilson is one of the best strikers in the league at the minute. So
yeah, where are you going to play Isak? Yeah,
you have to wait your chance anyway.
Where are you going to play him? Because the front three, it picks itself at the minute, surely with ESM, Miggy, and Callum Wilson. So he's going to have to wait his turn, which is incredible when you're talking about a £60 million player, a forward player. Paul says Lascelles is still living in the Bruce days. Rat says Napoli call that kid Clavadonna, as he is to them the next Maradona. At some point, we have to buy that future real superstar to attract real talent. Buying Napoli's goal and assist machine would prove we are. Interesting. Frau says, I think Lascelles has improved, just not as much as most players. Leicester played Sheffield United in a behind closed doors game at their training ground, but that's why it's not on FOTMob, because we don't know anything about it. Paul says Longstaff must have had extended knee surgery. He looks a foot taller. Yeah, well, Billy, you said that before. Yeah, weird. Loffy says, I think we've got more than enough in our arsenal to improve that squad today. So in my opinion, any purchase in January is a bonus. Good times at the Toon. Indeed. Geordie B says ESM should go spend more time on the floor rolling around looking for a free kick. Get rid. Fez, good evening to you, and thank you again for the background for today's watch along, mate. He says, good to see most of the lads aren't looking too rusty after the break, to be honest. Was worried the World Cup would kill our momentum. Yeah, I saw a few comments about the momentum, but it doesn't seem to have damaged it at all. Lush to be back. Glad the World Cup is over. Missed the shows. Paul says, I hope it is somewhere. The last one, there wasn't a single stream anywhere. Yeah, it was difficult, but I think there will be.
I think coming forward 24 hours will help.
Yeah, I think it will. But also, Billy, I think, it's sort of the latter rounds now, isn't it? So I think that there will be interest from certainly other countries, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. Jan says, time to say goodbye to ASM, or have we as in pet? No good to host the whinging, grumbling, lazy player he is.
Right. This is absolute shit. People are chatting shit. This is nonsense. There were people that were rusty, like Murphy, and nobody's going, oh, Murphy, quick, let's get him out the door. It's. We've had a month off, and we're in 2 friendlies. We've just had 2 friendlies, and we've got. He's trying to link up with Chris Wood up front. Funnily enough, on the opposite side, Murphy struggled as equally as it was equally as difficult for Murphy on the opposite side as it was for Maxi trying to link up with Chris Wood. I don't understand this at all. I don't get it. It's literally he played absolutely incredible football up until he got injured, and now we're playing friendlies. You're going to crucify somebody based on a friendly. It's just a friendly. If we get to the end of January, he's played 6-7 matches and he's been woeful. Fine, these comments would be justified. But these are friendly matches. You got to give him a minute. Bloody hell.
And
considering
bearing in
how
mind-
well he was playing before.
Yeah, the 6 weeks before, obviously they've had a week's time off for the World Cup. Max had a few minutes in the previous 2 months, so it's more for
He's not
Maxi.
played.
He's 5 months virtually out of football.
There were three games on the trot he was unplayable, and he literally dragged us points. We got a point against City because of Maxi, literally. He
And
got
Wolves.
2 assists and got the free kick that Trippier scored, and then he got us a point against Wolves. So he single-handedly is involved in us getting 2 additional points, and then he got injured.
Yeah. Well, Jason, I know you're in the house. I've just seen your email, Jason, about that shirt. That was sent donkeys ago. I'm not sure why you haven't received it. I will send another one to you. Can you just remind me if it was the green one or the blue away one? If you just send me an email which one it was, I'll get another one away to you on Monday, mate. And I'll send it so you get it before Christmas. So thanks for letting me know. Night of Knee Gaming says, out of curiosity, why all the ASM displeasure tonight from chat? He stuck around when Bruce was here, when he could have asked to leave. I get the frustration, but stick with him. He'll come good again. Yeah.
He needed a bit of time to ramp up to that City match because, he played against Forest. He was okay. It took him a few weeks. So we got to give him a few weeks. It's what players need generally. I mean, a lot of them weren't at the races today. I'd say Longstaff and Botman were the only 2 that were very good today. The rest of them were just okay.
Well, I thought Trippier played well, by the way.
Trippier
I
played.
thought
That was his standard performance, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's now just, Trippier is Trippier. He just, but I notice, even when Lascelles is on the pitch, Trippier is much more of a captain. I mean, did you see it, especially in the first half, when Trippier had the ball running forward, he was actually looking up and moving his hand, saying, come on, let's push forward, while he's on the ball. Lascelles tries to do that. Oh my God. I mean, it would just
it's on the ball, off the ball. He's like, you there, you make that run. Go here, watch him do that. He's everywhere. It's crazy.
Brilliant. Yeah. Cesare says, I scored an own goal from almost the halfway line with a sliced volleyed clearance. Nobody picked me up and said it happens. Well, maybe he's not from the halfway line. It doesn't, Cesare. That's wow. Julie says, not all of us want ASM out. I certainly don't. Rat says, do you think that why Newcastle are in the race for the Dortmund kid, Paul? He's not got an injury history and 88 goals at 18. Wow.
We're not going to get Yusuf Moukoko.
No,
we're not going to get him.
No, that. I mean, look, we're talking when Newcastle United are winning trophies season after season that we can, get in and go for players like him. Mark says, I noticed the Chipmunks last night, Paul, when it was Jimmy's picture was posted on Twitter. I like Coffee says, I trust Chris Wood with penalties over Harry Kane. Listen, Chris Wood, I mean, anytime he steps up for a penalty since we've had him, it's been in the back of the net. He just does not miss from 12 yards.
Stagger his run either. He runs up and he hits it like a proper old-fashioned penalty.
Yeah, and, more than not, it goes in the back of the net. Adam says, hi, guys. I think he did play yesterday. Eddie Bincoy again. Talking maybe about Isak, I think. Who did we play behind closed doors, says Malcolm? I'm not sure. There's no information on it at all. There was definitely a game yesterday. It was confirmed by the media, but nothing has been said on it, whether it was against the academy or whether it was just a local team, or we don't know. But it was it was classed as a training match. So make of that what you will. Darren says, any fitness news after the match? Concerned about Longstaff as he took some stick and went down a few times. Would hate him to get injured now as he seems to be improving massively. He looked very sharp. I don't think there's any problem with Longstaff. To be honest, he's used to that. He's the fact that he played the full game, I think, says something, Billy.
Yeah, the one I would be concerned about is Kieran Trippier. He went down with what I thought was probably a knee injury at the time, but it seemed to be like some kind of tweak to his groin or his hamstring. Yeah. And he didn't seem kind of the same after that, then came off. But Trippier seems to get over these injuries pretty quickly, doesn't he? I mean, in the World Cup, he had his foot on, and he was back up playing within 2 minutes. So, yeah, if we were to lose Trippier, we are really short of cover at right back, aren't we? So he'd be more.
Yeah, it is a worry. Manquillo, for me, the games that he's come in, he hasn't exactly set the world on fire, to be fair. But anyway, Jan says, and I call ASM prima donna. Oh, dear, Jan definitely isn't an ASM fan. Kamal says at one point everyone was complaining about Miggy and get rid was thrown around him. Look now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They were doing it about Sean Longstaff. They were doing it about a lot of players.
Jesus. Ian's had a bad day. Unfortunately, a pipe has burst in our utility room, and I've spent all day mopping and clearing up. I was soaked and freezing. I am knackered. Well, chill out and watch the show. Right, Alex, who is first on the agenda today?
A fun player. A very fun player.
A fun player?
I love this guy. I think he's amazing. I would 100% love him at the club. I think he's brilliant.
Daichi Kamada.
Yeah, so maybe we can sign a Japanese player this time that actually works for us. I think this is very loosely rumored, but it kind of makes sense. It's an interesting one. So he is not a young player. He is 26, so he's like peak age, like right now. Advanced forward, attacking midfielder, out wide. Can play a few places. Can play central midfield as well. You'll see that the theme with the Bundesliga players is you've got reasonable wages as well. He's on a rumored 38,000 euros a week, so very, very affordable. Contract expiring in June 2023, so would come at a reasonably good price if we wanted to improve. Pedigree as well here for the season: 10 goal contributions in under 1,000 minutes, 7 goals, 3 assists. Running a little bit hot on XG and XA, so he's expected around 5 goals and he's got 7. Supposed to have 1.5 assists and he has 3, but also 500 minutes in the Champions League with 3 goals. Was meant to get 2, so very, very competent there. And I will scroll down in a minute because I want to. I'll show you this in a second. There's a reason why. So we'll have a look at his SOFA score. Apparently 30-ish million euros. I think it'd be cheaper than that based on the fact his contract expires in the summer. But we'll see. So he's not small. 184 is, what's that in real money?
About 5'10", somewhere.
No, it's a bit more than that. I think it's about 6 foot, maybe. Yeah. He's about 6-ish.
Hang on. I just happen to have a tape measure. What did we say? 184 centimeters.
184, yeah.
Right, Billy, what did you say?
I mean, 5'10", something like
that. 184 centimeters is just under 6'1".
Oh wow!
So 6 foot, 6 foot and a little bit. So plays for Eintracht Frankfurt, and if we scroll down, all the way down here, this is what I like about this guy. So in the last 12 months, 29 Bundesliga appearances, 7 in the Europa League, 6 in the Champions League. He's played for Japan in the World Cup, just gone. Friendlies, DFB Pokal in the Super Cup. He's played so much football in so many different competitions. And as for where he plays for his club, if we go and have a look at let's look at the first Champions League game on the page against Marseille, if it wants to load. Lineups. There we go. So they play a 3-4-3. Is that a 3-4-3? Kind of 3-4-2-1.
Yeah.
It's a funny. It depends how they actually play. They might change around, but so central. But he does go quite aggressive. He got a goal in this game. If we click on him and have a look at his stats for the game, very active heat map. 55 touches, 33 out of 40 passes. 5 long balls as well, so some good vision, good passing. 7 out of 11 ground duels. He's very, very involved. Very high energy as well. 5 tackles. Very, very involved. Kind of, the more you look at the guy in terms of his output, if you watch some highlights of him and actually look at the data, kind of fits how we like to play.
That's an Eddie. I was going to say it's an Eddie. He's an Eddie Howe player, isn't he?
It's not like the Napoli guy. It's not the Georgian winger. But there are some things here that make me go, oh, you know what? I can see why we're linked with this guy. It kind of makes a lot of sense. I don't know if there's any truth in the links, but it's interesting nonetheless. Yeah. So in the next game, if you scroll down so we can see his stats.
Look at that heat map. Jesus.
Yeah. Crazy heat map, 100 touches, 74 accurate passes. Again, he's mucking in with the 3 out of 5 ground duels, 3 tackles, 2 interceptions. So he is He's putting himself about. He is a very, very active player. Does seem a lot deeper, despite the fact he's listed as an attacking midfielder and various other positions. Playing in this sort of role at the moment doesn't mean he couldn't play in other places. Right, and then we'll go back. We'll go back to FB Ref, and this is the reason I was pausing for it, because if we scroll down, there you go. That's. I thought that was quite interesting. The fact that Miggy is his 8th stat match. And also Jack Harrison is 5th on his stat match as well, which is curious because we were linked with him. So makes it even more plausible that he could be on a list somewhere in a positive way, in a football sense. Yeah. Tackles, as it kind of, it looked like that when you look at all the data, it looks like he's a reasonably good tackler, especially if you watch him. And then when you look at FB Ref, he is in the top 8% in Europe for tackles. So it doesn't look insane here. He's not like a crazy dribbly boy, but he's just very, very tidy. When he runs well. He passes very safely. He contributes to the team, very high energy. And that's kind of like Miggy is. If you go and look at Miggy's stats, they're not like Maxi's. They're not through the roof or spiky green. He just contributes in the right areas. When he makes a run, he makes a good run. And yeah, I really like this guy. I think it'd be a really interesting signing, especially because we need to replace or improve cover in the wide and attacking areas with such players like Fraser and potentially Murphy. And it could be kind of not too expensive either, with moderate wages. It's not a superstar signing, but I really like it. I mean, I say that being said, 10 goal contributions in Germany this year. He's got Champions League pedigree. Plays for his country. He's got all the pedigree right there. I don't see why he couldn't.
Billy's got the perfect name. He's got the perfect name for Geordies to pronounce, of course.
Deutsche Kamada.
Kamada, man. Kamada's on the midfield, man. Frau's asking, have we ever had a Japanese player? I don't think so. Well, we have.
Yoshinori Muto,
who I believe didn't get a chance, Billy. I really thought Muto was a good player. I don't know what you think, but I just don't think he was given a chance.
There were times when we had no fit strikers and Steve Bruce still chose not to play him.
I liked him in that. When Steve Bruce first took over, I think we were in China, weren't we? We were on a pre-season.
Yeah.
And he came on for a couple of those friendly games. We got battered by Wolves in the first one, and then he came on in the next couple, and he looked really sharp, really sharp in those friendlies. Yeah. And then he just never got a chance. It was peculiar.
Well, do you not remember him scoring a couple of goals at Old Trafford as well? He had something about him, but just didn't. He wasn't playing in the right place at all. Paul says a couple of them Japan players really surprised me in the World Cup. I mean, Billy, does Kamada look like a player you'd fancy?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're getting goals and doing that kind of work in defensive midfield situations, that heat map on that right-hand side is very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of fitting to where Sean Longstaff was playing today. Yeah, absolutely. Good player. What I've seen of him, I keep packing him on bloody FIFA as well. Must have packed him 15 times.
Yeah. Wow. Ian Toon Trader says 184 centimeters is bigger than you, Alex, with the laughing emoji.
I'm not 6 foot.
Yeah. Same as me, 6 feet, says Jan. James says, what's Paul been measuring? Well, it's the new office, mate, so I've had to measure where things are going to go. That's why there is a tape measure sitting on the desk, mate. So before you go all disgraceful on me. Yeah, Billy, I recognize that from yes, thank you. Indeed. Let's have a look. Ches says Paul pulled out a tape measure out of nowhere. Very handy. More hymns on the transfer list. No, the only hymns that will be on the transfer list are the ones that I cannot pronounce, and I'll just say, how about him, Alex? So
I mean, Kamada's all right. Everybody can say that.
Kamada. Sounds very Japanese. Anyway, you could just imagine him in the military. Kamada, get that done.
Well,
James says
in Japanese, but yeah.
What did I say?
Well, you said it in English, but yeah.
Well, yes, but in a film I'm talking about. James says it must be to prove he's 6'5" to all the people who doubt him. No, just that I've been. I like coffee says TTR measuring tapes. Hey, there you go. I mean, if you're interested. Eddie said Trippier wasn't taken off because of an injury. That's good news, and I don't think Eddie would lie, to be honest. Christopher says, am I aiming beneath us by really wanting Jack Harrison from Leeds?
No, not at all.
Yeah, I think Jack Harrison's a decent player. Stu is asking, have you seen any of the darts, Billy?
Very little. I haven't seen a lot today, to be perfectly honest. I watched the match and cabbage out in the city for the rest of the day.
Yeah, Billy's been resting his head. So there you go. Sydney says Bruce managed Muto, so we'll say no more. Dawn was another Japan player who looked good. Jaden says, what about
Him.
him?
Chuck Kvaratskhelia, yeah. We did him yesterday.
We did, thank God. We got through it. Philip says, what about trying to sign McAllister, the Argentinian? Well, I don't think Brighton will be in any hurry to let go of him, to be honest.
There've been a few publications written about him coming to us.
Yeah,
they're very cheeky, and I won't name who they are because most people know who they are. They're not transfer linked. They literally write an article about McAllister to Newcastle, and then at the end of it, they say, "Oh, we're not linked. It's just because of Ashworth, and you never know." Well, that's not a transfer link. That's just publications writing fantasy because they don't have anything else to write about, which is which is why we had a break from shows and did World Cup. We're not just going to say random nonsense that is not true.
Exactly. Yeah.
Plenty of the places for that.
There is. Frau says, sorry for forgetting about Muto, but it was Bruce Ball and my mind and memory melted. Yes, we all suffered that problem. James says, Muto did wonders for me on Football Manager. I always thought he never got his chance. Dominic says, any news on Joby Bellingham? Nothing at the minute. Again, look, just see what happens again with him. Croatian centre-back Vardiol looks a real deal at 20.
No, we're not getting him.
I don't know.
We're not getting him.
He looks a player. He's
going to be the next most expensive centre-back in the world, I think. We're not getting him. No chance.
Yeah. Paul Kirkwood says, TTR mug arrived. Great show, guys. Good news. Obviously, the postal strikes, it's awful. Julie's asking, Cesare, has your Toon review mug made it? It is on its way. I've sent some more, Julie. Some more have been sent in the last batch, so hopefully you get these ones. Julie J says, the two I want are Gakpo and Madison. Could you see Gakpo fitting in, Billy?
He'd certainly fit in, but I think there'd be a lot of competition for him.
Yeah.
Maybe it's slightly above our level, but yeah, he'd fit in. Actually, towards the end of the Dutch run, I thought he looked very ordinary, to be honest. He looked really good in the first couple of games. After that, he kind of fell off a cliff, I think.
Yeah. Geordie Kev says, good morning from New Zealand. Geordie Kev says, the Steve Bruce the type of bloke to read his cereal whilst eating his newspaper. Yeah, absolutely. Christopher says, do you not think from a commercial side, Dubravka could leave permanently and we could sign the Saudi national keeper as our number 2 because he looks decent? Look, I don't think Dubravka's got a future, Alex.
Well, I can't see Man United pulling the trigger on the clause of the loan deal. So I haven't the foggiest what's going to happen with him. I can't see this loan culminating in him going to Manchester United. But at the same time, I think a lot depends on what they want to do with Karius as well. Because then we're going to end up with quite a lot of keepers. When Dubravka comes back, we're going to have, how many is that, 5?
Well, I think the overwhelming opinion is that a lot of Newcastle fans think Karius should stay. Billy, you made the point the other night, didn't you? That you would have him over Darlow.
I'd have him as number 2 for sure. Absolutely. He looked so assured with his handling. His kind of command of the box was really good. Yeah, as a first kind of appearance in a Newcastle shirt, thought he looked excellent. I've got to be honest.
Yeah. Right, who's next on the list, Alex?
Well, I've shuffled it across to do this guy now because we are officially linked. Well, we've been linked, not by any official sources, but it is Gakpo. Oh, I'm not even screen sharing, am I?
No, you're not.
My bad. Here he is.
Cody Gakpo.
Finally getting Cody, eh?
I know, Billy. Yes, it would be nice to have a Cody.
So I'm going to preface this by saying this is highly unlikely because, as Billy said, there's going to be fierce competition for his signature. And in the English media, he's been much more heavily linked with Manchester United. So, but we got Isak for 60 million, so you never know if they want another statement signing. We can't predict the future, so we can have a look at him because he has been linked. Yeah. I don't even know what to say here. 20 goal contributions in 1100 minutes is, even though it's in the Eredivisie, that is freakish. Again,
yeah, Alex, you say about you say even though it's the Eredivisie, I watch a lot of Dutch football, and it's not a bad league. It really isn't. There's some really good. If you sat down and watched some Eredivisie games, or I know I'm not saying you, but I'm saying like people in general, they get quite a surprise because it is a good league.
There is quite a quality drop off once you get past the teams that have got history and money. There is quite a huge drop off in quality.
Well,
but with your PSVs and stuff and your Feyenoords, that.
But you could say that about La Liga. You could say that about Liga. All these European.
I think we do
leagues.
now. La Liga's drop off in quality is pretty huge.
Yeah.
The only league that doesn't have such a drastic drop off in quality at the moment is the Premier League, which is why anybody can beat anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, so even so, it's not a terrible league. It's an okay league, and he still has to work hard for it. And 20 goal contributions in 1100 minutes is just alien. It is absolutely alien. The kid is a monster. I mean, he is running hot on his assists. He's meant to have 6.8, so his XA expected assists there is 6.8, and he's on 12, so it's pretty crazy. Europa League as well, 6 goal contributions in not even 400 minutes. So just anything this kid touches just turns into goals. It is quite phenomenal, and the fact that he's only 23 still as well. Again, he's not a tiny little Dutch player. He's got some height. And if we scroll down, this is just
wow.
Yeah. So receives the ball very high up the pitch. Touches in the attacking penalty areas in the top 2%. So he's touching the ball 6 times in the box, which is great. That's what you want. He's completing 3 dribbles a game, which is in the top 5%. And then these are all of his sort of attacking things. Shot creating actions is in the top 5% as well. And then you've got his shots per game, which is an important one. 3.6 per game in the top 3%, which is huge. So he would help us create shots. He would shoot himself. He would receive the ball in dangerous areas. He would take the ball himself into dangerous areas. He's a very good presser. He's very high energy. He wins his aerial duels because he's not tiny. Although Isak doesn't win many aerial duels and he's not tiny, but that's by the by. And then you can see his stat matches. He's got Harry Wilson. You've got Luis Sinisterra as well. So he's similar to a few players that are quite pressy in nature. And then if we go over to his sofa score, there you go. You can even see the sofa score. I've listed him as high pressing, long shots and playmaking. As a right-footed left winger, so it is Maxi's position. And if we go, that's World Cup, and of course he did play in the World Cup. Eredivisie, there we go. So you can see here he's been in 6 team of the weeks. 14 matches he's been in 6 team of the weeks. So that just shows you how highly he's rated in that league. And then recent games. So you've got the Netherlands games here that have come up on there, but we've also got his league games. So he got an assist against Ajax as well. So he's doing it against the toughest opponents in the league. So let's click on the Ajax game. What was his money rated on here, by the way, if I scroll up? Let's say, 43
million euros.
I think I'd bite your hand off to get him for 43 million. I think he's going to be a bit more than that.
Yep.
He's definitely going to be a lot more than that. All right, lineups. There we go.
Now,
So obviously,
Simon says that Gakpo agreed a deal in the summer with Southampton for £25 million and it fell through at the last minute.
Yeah, Southampton. There's been a few examples of that where they've actually had a few players ready and it's not worked out, and then 1 or 2 years later they've just become absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
So really, really balanced team I do love this team at the moment. So you can see against the Ajax, they've got Edson Alvarez, who we've been linked with as well, and they've got the Tadic and the Bergwijn. This is crazy. This Eric Gutierrez, Ibrahim Sangare is such a balanced double pivot. It's unreal. And then they've got the famous star boy Xavi Simons out on the right, and Cody Gakpo on the left. And our old friend Luke de Jong, who was shocking for us.
Who has to be one of the slowest players I have ever seen at the World Cup, by the way. I mean, his pace was lightning running backwards. Unbelievable.
But so it's a really, I love this team. I think it's very balanced. I would prefer we went in for somebody like Ibrahim Sangare, to be fair. I think he would make our team a lot better. So you can see not super involved, 87 minutes. He's not got like the sort of Kamada numbers, obviously playing quite a different role. Only making 10 passes, 1 cross, 1 long ball, no successful dribbles, but he drew 3 fouls, got a few tackles. So probably harder to be a lot more influential because it was against Ajax. It was a much more tightly contested game, but he got the assist. He's turning up in the big games. You know, he's doing very well against the smaller teams, and he's still contributing when he needs to against the big teams. So I just think he's a bit out of our reach. I mean, they don't have the wages on here. He's likely to be on quite low wages at a Dutch club. It's likely to be 10, 20, not even more than I think Anthony, before he got his move to Man United, was on like 18 or 28 or 8. I think it was 18.
Wherever he goes, he's going to quadruple his money. There is no doubt about that. But
so
Billy,
he would improve us. But
Billy, I know you said about Gakpo, he's sort of breaking off at the end of the sort of Dutch run in the World Cup. What do you reckon?
It's clearly an outstanding player. Some of those kind of the green bars were unbelievable, weren't they?
Yeah.
And you can see from the eye that how good a player he is. I just think perhaps there'll be bigger fish than us currently that will be in for him. So I don't include Man United in that. I include like your Real Madrid, your Barcelona, them college clubs.
Yeah, well, Man United aren't a big club, are they? So
absolutely not.
About them. But here's a question for you both. Billy, I'll start with you. Obviously, he plays left forward. Who would you have, ASM or Cody Gakpo?
For me, at the minute, ASM, because he plays for us.
Interesting. Alex?
Well, I mean, if they both played for us, I'd start Gakpo. If we had a game tomorrow, I'd start Gakpo.
No, but I'm actually asking the question: who would you have?
If I had to have one or the other.
If you had to have one or the other, who would it be?
Oh, Gakpo in that case.
Okay.
Oh, that's a tough one.
See, I'm with Billy. I'd probably
have to take Gakpo because he's younger, possibly a higher skill ceiling.
Doing it at a higher level as well.
More moldable. He's been playing in teams that are a lot more system based. He might have a higher technical ceiling in terms of like passing and playing for the team.
Yeah, and he's doing it. I
love ASM.
He's doing it in European football as well, not just the Eredivisie as we've seen. So
and international football
and international. Yeah. Tangy says that FIFA have just announced the team of the tournament. Harry Kane is in it, and Griezmann wasn't. Wow. I mean, how is Harry Kane in the team of the tournament?
How could they announce the team of the tournament before the final?
Well, they always do. They always announce it just before the final, Alex. So it's unbelievable. Jesus.
What if Griezmann goes and scores a hat-trick in the final? What are they going to do then?
Yeah. Up the A1 says, Paul, how is your Cody doing? He's fine. I'll get some photos of him, but he's for next time. But he's a little shit. He is a little shit. But black labs always are until they're a certain age. But he'll be going for his training soon. Cesare, Jesus Christ. I have a question for Paul. Alex, don't help him out. Who do you prefer out of the following? Right. Kvaratskhelia, Papastapalopoulos, Blazakowski, and Konoplyanka. Right, what's the proper pronunciations? Come on. I thought I did
right. Even I can say Blazakowski.
It's Błaszczykowski.
Oh, there you go.
Well, obviously,
Konoplyanka. but it was
Konrad
close.
Plianka, yeah, I got close with that. What about the Greek guy?
I'm not great at the
Papastapalopoulos?
Greek, but
Well, Papastapalopoulos.
I can't even say that one.
Papastapalopoulos?
Papastathopoulos.
Yeah.
I think you're adding an extra opple in there.
I'm not adding an extra opple. Bugger off. Anyway, let's move on. Mark says Gakpo was linked in the summer. He was quite heavily, actually. Foxy says Saudi keeper Alawai is now 31. It would be very unlikely. If any Saudi players join, it will be at a younger age, more towards the youth team. Yeah. Julius saying, Cesare, nice knowing you. Indeed, Cesare, go and wrestle a shark. Ian says, anybody can beat anybody in the Premier League, then Man City win. Look, Man City aren't running away with anything at the minute. So there you go. Jan says the Bundesliga is not bad at all. No, I like German football as well. I like to watch a lot of European football. Jimmy says MLS is the best league in the world. No. James said I would have Eze or Olise. Both good players, would improve under how?
I don't know what people's obsession are with these Crystal Palace players.
No.
I think they're both very good players, but they've been this Crystal Palace team have been hyped to the hill in the last 2 seasons, and they are nothing but mid to lower table currently. And every time they've played against us, they've been subbed off because it's not worked.
Yeah,
Elise's been subbed off every time he's played against us.
He went off before half time last time, didn't he?
Because they had a shocker.
Yeah.
They're great players, but I think we've got to set the bar a little bit higher, potentially.
Dark by Design says, according to Goldbridge, Gakpo has said he wants to go to Manchester. Well, of course he'd say that.
According to Goldbridge, is not anything.
I'm not sure City would want him, to be honest.
No, City don't need him at the minute.
That's the same as saying according to Calcio Mercato or anything Italian. It's just no point.
Yeah, absolutely. Mary says, Goldbridge wants Gakpo to go. I want Santa to come down the chimney and give me a big present. Will it happen? That is yet to be seen. Exactly. Chinglish says Gakpo is overrated. Let him go to Man United. We can get Madison. Wow.
I mean, 20 goal contributions is hardly overrated. He's got the numbers to back it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, who's next?
It is the right back on the thumbnail. This is the funny one because we've obviously been.
Can I have a go at this guy's name? Ivan Fresneda.
Close. Ivan Fresneda.
Fresneda? I said it.
Because the accent's on the A, it means you emphasize where the accent is. So it's Ivan, not Ivan, if that makes sense.
Ivan, I said Ivan Fresneda. Get on with it.
Ivan Fresneda.
Ivan Fresneda.
Ivan.
So this is a funny one because obviously we've been heavily linked with the West Ham right back Harrison Ashby. There are a lot of reports floating around suggesting that there's even a deal already been done. It's not confirmed. So the fact that we've been linked with this kid is a little strange, but it's what we do. So we'll have a look. 18 years old, plays for Valladolid. This is the team that fat Brazilian Ronaldo owns in Spain when he's not playing poker. So there's not a lot of data on him at all. We've literally got data for just shy of 500 minutes. He's only just started really playing in the first team. But interestingly enough, his closest stat match is Matt Target, which is quite curious, bit odd. Wow. And he is also Estepinian, who's very good for Brighton. So it's quite nice there, and quite a nice spread on the stats. Very, very, very energetic and high on the tackles and interceptions. Top 5% in Europe for tackles. You still need to understand that this is only 500 minutes of data. So this might, he could have had a few blinders. This could all change. This is where you have real scouting teams will go out and watch, huge amounts of games and training. So it looks feasible here, but it's not a lot of data to go on. If we go and have a look, oh no, that's Gakpo. If we go and have a look at the actual games, let me scroll in a little bit. So this is the 3-0 loss against Athletic Club, who we know very well because we played against them in preseason. Of
Hang on,
course,
is this Spain, Alex? I think you meant to say Athletic Club.
Athletic Club.
Club, yes.
Bilbao.
Yes, the Athletic Club de Bilbao. Yeah. So, Paul's favourite striker, Iñaki Williams, and then his brother on the left, Nico. So he had to actually line up against Nico Williams, who is not easy to defend against. And he didn't do terrible. He did okay in this game. They lost 3-0. Yeah, at least it wasn't particularly his fault. But playing in a 4-4-2, he's getting minutes in the top league. He's only 18 years old, so he's still extremely young, extremely raw. They lost this one as well, bless them. So they're not doing particularly well. But,
Valladolid are not a good side, Alex. They're really not.
Did he come on as a sub in this game? Oh, he must have done. Where is he? There he is. He came on at halftime. So he's getting minutes, but he's not playing all the time. His stats suggest there's definitely something there. I've not seen him play personally. Obviously, once the season restarts again in January, I'll be able to go and start watching a lot of these linked players and have a look, maybe get 1 or 2 games under my belt so I can talk about them a bit more confidently. So hopefully I can watch this guy in the next few weeks. Again, a lot of it depends on what's happening with Harrison Ashby. So, but it's an interesting one.
I'm convinced that deal's done. I think Ashby will sign. I'm pretty sure of it. But Billy, what do you reckon for Ivan Fashnida?
For an 18-year-old to be in the top 5% percentile for tackling is amazing, really. However, playing for Valladolid, I guess he gets lots of practice at it because, like you say, they're the greatest side in the world, are they?
No, indeed, lots and lots of practice. It's fair to say. Luke, thank you very much for your $7.99 Australian dollars, my friend. He says, morning all. Did any of you see the fan behaviour in the Melbourne derby last night? Disgraceful. Yes, I mentioned it before. Absolute. There's no place for it in football. It was disgusting, and it needs dealt with. And hopefully the authorities over there will deal with it down under and get it sorted so that something like that never happens again. Spencer says they probably pronounce it Frethneda. Why can't we just get players with the names like Smith, Jones, Davies or something like that instead of all these bloody crazy 50,000 lettered names? It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's not even his surname. His surname's technically Corraliza, but they don't seem to say that.
You just wanted to say it, Alex. You just wanted to say Corraliza.
I need to learn Portuguese so I can say all of these funny 5 and 6 name ones.
Yeah. I Like Coffee says, I'm noting all these players' names to ask John for his pronunciations. Oh, God. Well, if I can't say them, he's got absolutely no chance. Charles says, I lost all respect for Goldbridge when he said that Piff should dispose of NUFC to buy Man United. It's called desperation, Charles.
After his countless videos attacking us for it.
Absolutely, yeah. It's desperation. And it's funny how the pendulum suddenly swings the other way when there's talk about Man United getting the Saudi money. Crazy, isn't it? Julie J says, I knew that had been said by some Professor Nutter bloke, but not Goldbridge. Ches says, this may be a question to Alex. Well, of course, because it's a simple question. Liverpool's successful presses is 11th this season versus first last season. If an aging squad is a factor, do you think we'll be letting players go earlier over time?
I would hope so, but it doesn't always work like that in practice. It depends on contract length. It depends on squad harmony, who they are as individuals. It's not always as straightforward as that. It's not a football game, unfortunately. As Liverpool have found out, you can't just recycle them. You've got, and it doesn't always mean that the right players available in the current window or the current market as well.
You can't hatch players out of eggs, Alex.
Yeah, you can't. Exactly. It's
not
more
just
complicated than that.
Who was England's most pressing presser, if you like, in the World Cup? Jordan Henderson.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah, but he's not been doing that for Liverpool. He just sort of switched it on for England, surprisingly.
Well, he had to. Weren't doing it.
He had a couple of good games, to be fair to him, and he's not been doing that for Liverpool.
Billy's not a fan of Harry Kane, if anyone just sort of has picked up on that.
Hey, and big up to Alex for last night's rant because it was perfect. I couldn't agree.
Yeah, I thought you would have enjoyed that, Billy. Yeah.
Perfection.
Absolutely. Yep. Ian McKenna says, God damn those Saudis. Please buy our team. Yeah, that's exactly what Goldbridge is doing. Saudi sport washing all of this and that. All that, you know, Man United are the greatest team in the world. You know, we should be getting these players. Please buy our team, Saudi. I didn't mean anything I said against you. You know, when I said about you buying Newcastle United, I'm a prat. There you go. Anyway, Frau says, with the quality players coming in, can Howe improve them as well? Absolutely. Listen, Eddie Howe could improve Santa Claus if he wanted to. I mean, the man is a genius. So, you know, he would improve Santa riding his sleigh. He'd tell you which reindeer wasn't in the right position to fly the sleigh.
Get the reindeer pressing harder.
He would certainly do that. Let's not go into that, Billy.
Rudolph knows to get rid of them, wouldn't he?
Absolutely. Let's move on. Ian says, because we'd be shit, Paul, without Smith, and we'd be shit with Smith and Jones. Yes, we would be. Christian Callahan Music. Good evening to you. Aye, all the Scousers and Man United fans are twerking for the Saudi takeover now. Indeed, they are. But it ain't gonna happen. Anyone else see Rondon's contract get terminated at Everton? Yes. It's gone slightly. Grass is not always greener on the other side, as certain players who've jumped ship from Newcastle United have found out. But there you go.
Well, he just wanted to go with Benitez, didn't he? He went to China.
He went for the money. Julie says, what was that accent, Paul? Well, it was supposed to be a bit of Goldbridge because he hasn't really got. He's got a sort of.
He's from Nottingham. He's not.
He's not from Manchester. He tries to put on a Manchester accent, you know. But he's a prat.
I was getting Chesney out of Coronation Street, to be honest.
Thanks, Billy. Julie J says, can't see Everton wanting to keep Rondon. Well, they can't. He's gone. Ian says, I couldn't have said it better myself, Paul. Paul's accent, laughing emojis. Well, look, I try, all right? I try. I may not be able to pronounce names, but I try with accents. Julie says, can we not sign Benson and Hedges? I don't think that would go down very well. Funny enough, they used to sponsor an ice hockey competition years ago. The Benson Hedges Cup was like an early season cup tournament, similar to what the Carabao Cup is in football. But the man of the match got a pack of 24, got a box of 24 Benson Hedges. Just like supposed to be elite ice hockey players, and they give you 24 packets of tabs to get smoke after the game. Mental. But it was different days back then, of course. Mary says it was a female reindeer pulling the sleigh. Oh, God, I'm not getting into that. Julie J says, Goldbridge, a former copper from Nottingham. Exactly. Don't see many footy movies now. No, you don't. Ian says, how fucking mint is it to have the Toon talk back on the Toon review? Loving the crack with Tommy and the Grandad. Thanks very much, Ian. But it is time to end the show. And I daresn't go on any longer because Susan will kill me if I'm not back in the house for mealtime. But we've gone through some very interesting players there, as usual. We will have more to come. Certainly with the build-up to the transfer window opening, it's going to be a very exciting time. Now, do keep your eye open for more recorded videos. Everything is going to start flowing again on the Toon review. We're going to kick our asses and get back into gear. Me and Alex will be over on Loaded tomorrow night at 8:30. It's 8:30, not 9, Alex, just to make sure you're there. As Billy has to be up at was it 4:30 on Monday morning, Bill? Yeah. Me and Billy will be back on Monday night. We'll be previewing the Bournemouth Cup game and any more news coming out of Newcastle. So join us at 8 p.m. for that. The fan forum won't be on Tuesday. I thought it would have, but obviously we're playing on Tuesday. So we may do a fan forum Wednesday night, but keep an eye open for that. Billy will be doing the commentary of the game on Tuesday night, providing we do get a stream for it, which I'm sure we will somewhere. We will find one for you guys who can't make the game. Me and Alex will be there. I will be, holding on for dear life up in level 7. So if you do see me if you're sitting up in level 7 on Tuesday night, come and say hello, but don't be offended if I don't get up and shake your hand, because I'll be glued to my seat, quite honestly. But there you go. But thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Before you leave the show tonight, please don't forget to hit the like button, as it really does help our channel. Thank you to everybody that sent in super chats tonight. Billy and Alex, thanks for your company. Thank you to the Mod Squad again for their wonderful work today. And mainly thanks to you guys, because without you guys, the shows would be nothing. We've had over 500 watching again tonight on a Saturday night, which is incredible. So thank you so much. But do subscribe if you're new to the channel. It is free to do so. Come and be part of the Toon Review community. We do have other fans of other clubs who are subscribers to the channel because they love the banter, etc. The honest football talk on here. We don't bullshit anybody. We don't claim to know anything. We just go off what we're told by the club and then talk about it then. So, but anything in the media, like today's transfer show, we'll have a look at these players and we'll have a look at the stats and see what they would bring to Newcastle United should they actually sign in the future. But that's the way we like to do it. But thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will see you over on Loaded at 8:30 tomorrow night. And then me and Billy back live Monday night, 8 o'clock, with the preview for the Bournemouth game and any latest Newcastle United news. But keep an eye out for videos, etc. We'll see you soon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. Have a blast. Love yous all. Good night.
Away the lads and lasses.